everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Podshots with Bhawna. Well, of course, after exploring other topics of sales, marketing, branding, HR, let's change gears today and talk about the people behind this power, and that is the leaders. So today I'll be joined by a guest who's not only just a leadership coach, but she actually lives the leadership every day. So allow me a moment till I bring her up onto the screen for all of us. Okay, I'm so excited to host a leader today on my show, a leader who doesn't speak about leadership from the stage, but someone who has been actually transforming it from within inside. Diya Kapur Misra, a renowned name in impactful leadership coaching, someone who champions the inclusive leadership, and a top voice on LinkedIn. Diya has been actually the one who has created a model of power of I, impactful leadership program, which actually helps leaders to thrive leadership through clarity and purpose. Diya has actually helped close to 2,500 leaders across probably 50 different organizations through her great program of mentorship, as well as various different programs where she actually enables leaders to find the purpose, clarity with confidence and compassion. Thank you so much, Diya, and welcome to my show, Podshots with Bhawna.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Bhavna. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Diya. And I know that you have been actually transitioning between a lot of work as well as personal things. So thanks a lot for adjusting your time. Really appreciate the same. So just to quickly update you on the format of this show. So it's a bite-sized podcast show. So it's an under 15 minutes show. That's the reason it's called Podshots. So I'll ask you some of the questions, around 4 or 5 questions in the core grid. And towards the end, we'll have a sizzling, informal 1 minute rapid fire questionnaire. So I hope you're all set, and I'm sure the audience is really waiting to hear you out.
Thank you. Yes, all set.
Okay. So yeah, starting from the first one, you talk about, branding starts from, self-leadership. So if you can just explain us more that how this kind of internal clarity can help the organizations and the people also for their personal branding, as well as, in the organization as a whole.
Sure. So, branding, Bhavna, for me is about being able to put out for the world to know what your values are and what are the unique aspects, talents, benefits that you bring to the world. It's the same for product brands or organization brands, and it's the same for leaders. And in order to be able to put out who you are and what your values are and what your unique benefits are, I think it's very important for you to first, as an individual, be very clear about themselves. And therefore, clarity from within on who you are, what you anchor to, what are the unique aspects that you bring to the world is the starting point of being able to articulate any brand. Putting the brand out is the next step that comes, but that self-awareness and that clarity is very important in order to build an authentic brand.
I think that really resonates with your entire framework of finding the purpose. So I think this really drives to that core value of finding your own purpose first and then going. Yes, sure. So you have been, as I was mentioning in your intro, that you have actually developed a great impactful model of power of I. And you have been in this industry from couple of decades, and you have been enabling the leaders across so many different organizations. So what's that paradox you think, according to you, the leaders still grapple with, and how do you help them come out of it?
Sure. So, the biggest thing to my mind that has shifted in leadership over the last decade, and particularly in the last 5 to 6 years post-COVID, is that leadership earlier was thought to be a role which meant you were in the driving seat. So you had to have all the answers as a leader. You needed to set strategic direction for the organization, and people would follow the direction that you set. I think COVID turned all that on its head, and we all realized that there are many things beyond our control. There are many things that we don't have answers to. And businesses today grapple with very unprecedented challenges that no one has answers to. So the paradigm of leadership has shifted from that one individual or a few individuals knowing what to do and leading the rest of the organization to a leader being more of an enabler, an integrator, who actually brings together multiple ideas, multiple talents, multiple skill sets, hopefully in an inclusive way, so that you're able to allow people to really give their best. And the direction is actually co-created, which means that leaders now have got to grapple with this paradox of saying, I'm the leader, I'm in the driving seat, and yet I don't have all the answers. And I need to be comfortable with not knowing. I need to be comfortable with getting the answers from anywhere in the organization and actually bringing in diverse talent in an inclusive way so that I'm able to then get the best out of people in a much more complementary way. So that's, I think, the biggest paradox for leaders today is to have that humility and the self-assurance and confidence to know that even if I don't have all the answers, I am the one who can take the organization forward because of a different set of qualities and competencies that I bring.
No, I think that's very powerful way of looking at this shift, and especially as you said that your the power of I itself is developed in the challenging time. That how do you have to thrive through those kind of undesirable or adverse situations. So I think that really makes a lot of sense. Now coming to your very successful program Upsurge, which you do with XLRIs, and luckily I was part of one of that program, which is meant for moving the women leaders to the CXO roles or the C-suite roles. So from all these years of experience conducting, what do you think the kind of mind shift change which you and the entire team has been able to drive in this women leaders, as well as the workplace where they are actually being, so it's not only the mind shift change needing in them but all around where they are.
Oh, sure. So, Bhavna, first of all, let me just start by saying that today, when anything I say about Upsurge is as a representative of a much wider team and a larger organization that I represent, which is XLRI for Women and XLRI Center for Gender Equality and Inclusive Leadership. I have had the privilege of leading Upsurge right from its inception in 2021. But there is a much wider team that sits behind me, and I speak in a sense, I guess, on the behalf of the entire team with what I'm about to say. Our experience has been that there are three things that hold women back in their growth to the top, in their growth to the C-suite. One is that many women shy away from talking about their own accomplishments or their own achievements and believe that their work should speak for itself. And I think it has become abundantly clear in the world we live in that with the amount of information clutter that we all handle, unless you are able to be your own biggest proponent of your accomplishments and your capabilities, it's very hard to expect others to know about them or to sponsor you. So I think that's the first mindset shift that we are driving through Upsurge, that you don't need to feel guilty about talking about your accomplishments as long as they are real and as long as you also lace it with acknowledging the people who have helped you get there and gratitude for your organization and your teams. So that's the first mindset shift. The second is that I need to be 120% ready before I put my hand up for a big opportunity. And we know, and there's enough research that shows that women tend to second guess themselves and shortchange themselves very often, which unfortunately means that opportunities pass them by that they actually were ready for.
True.
So the other mindset shift is to say, invest in yourself, build your capability, but also take a leap of faith. Have the self-belief to be able to put your hand up and say, you know what, even if I'm 70% ready, I'm going to get into this and I will learn as I go along. And I have the self-belief that I will make it work. So I think that's the second mindset shift, is to say, believe in yourself and put your hand up and take a leap of faith. The third thing is that I become weak when I ask for help and I have to be the superwoman and do it all alone. And I think that's the third mindset shift that we drive, is to say, can you actually consciously cultivate a personal board of trustees mentors and sponsors in your professional space, and personal allies who will walk your journey with you and celebrate your successes with you, because none of us have got where we have alone. So we need that support system, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking for that help and bringing others into your journey. So I think these are the three kind of mindset shifts. On the second part of your question, as to what have been the changes in the workplaces that these women are at, I think the two big things that happen are, one, as more women are getting into the C-suite, and many of our participants, because we track them over time, we know have actually moved and have gone into bigger and more complex roles, is that they start to ensure that there is an inclusive environment and culture all around them, just because they're bringing that diversity quotient to the workplace. So that hopefully paves the way for many, a much more inclusive and diverse organization in the future. So I think one is the culture and the policies and what comes from it. The other very, very simple thing is that when I look up as a woman, if I see other women as role models who've made it and who've traversed that path before me, it gives me inspiration. So with every woman that we get to the C-suite, I think we're inspiring thousands more. And so it's really just a simple numbers game in terms of saying, can you get there yourself, and can you lift as you climb and sponsor and inspire many more women after you?
Absolutely. I think this is kind of a refresher for me for that program which we had attended, and very valid as well, because we women, as you rightly said, that we chain ourselves sometimes, knowingly, unknowingly. So it's that, those notions, those self barriers which women create around them, that really needs to be broken. And I can share you my personal example, that after that upsurge program, I consciously started doing that, creating that board of trustees model, because that was something which I thought that I had not done it before, but I consciously took it as a great takeaway from upsurge program, and I have been actually following that. So that's a real testimonial to the program which I'm speaking in public on this show.
That's lovely to know, Bhavna. I will just add one quick thing, I think, which is important. When I talk about the fact that women need to shift their mindset, I think there is no getting away from the fact that we fight against many, preconceived notions, many biases, and that there are many systemic things that need to change as well. So it's not to say that, we need to fix the women, quote unquote. But I think it's about acknowledging that, yes, there are systemic changes, but those may take several years to change. I don't think as women we have the luxury of waiting for those changes to take place. Some of these things we have to take control of, and we have to drive differently.
Absolutely. Yeah. So coming back to the same thing, the change starts from us. So I think that shift needs to be from us. Okay, coming to the next part, Diya, since you have enabled so many leaders across various industries for that matter, so what have you seen from your experience, that what's that it cannot be one, but at least one leadership belief which really works as a success recipe in every situation for that matter?
I think there are two parts to this question. I think one is self-belief and authenticity as a leader. I think to me, that's the most basic thing that any leader needs in order to be successful, irrespective of age, irrespective of generation, irrespective of industry, irrespective of situation. Knowing that you have the capabilities, of course, making sure you're investing to build those capabilities, but authentically living those capabilities and that brand and those values, I think, is the first thing. The second, other side of the coin is, how open are you to others and how open are you to other viewpoints? So belief in yourself, but also openness for other ideas, taking on board other ideas, and therefore the aspect of inclusion. My whole model and business of Power of I is about the power of impact. I stands for impact, the power of impact that leaders can create. And my biggest learning of the last, I would say, 7 to 8 years has been that if there's one, biggest ingredient for that impact, it is inclusive leadership. So believe in yourself, but bring on board and take on board different ideas, different skill set, different strengths, and then make the most of it. I think that's the recipe for success.
No, I think very valid as well, because I mean, we have seen that, successful leaders are the one who take along their entire team. So it's not just being yourself on the forefoot always. So as it's rightly said, being a leader, it's not that how many followers you create, but how many leaders you create more. So I think that's the power of a leader, that, you develop and unleash the potential, and that will come only when, give the chance to others to bring it out.
Right.
So,
And
so
it
very,
seems very simple. It almost seems very simple and very instinctive, but if you look around, actually, very few leaders manage to do this successfully,
absolutely,
consistently over a period of time.
exactly. Okay, now coming to a little bit, and this is probably the last question in the core grid. You being a woman as well as a woman coach, what according to you is the biggest myth about women leadership, which needs to be busted at least by now?
I think the biggest myth is the stereotypes that we put, or the labels that we put, that women are soft, women are empathetic, women are bring the sort of feminine qualities to the workplace. I think those stereotypes, gender-based stereotypes, have been proved to be wrong, and time again one realizes that there are men and women of all kinds. I think it's very important to focus on the individual qualities and strengths that the leader brings, irrespective of their gender. And the day that we can move away from these gender stereotypes, I think we'll do a favor to both men and women, because we will take people for who they are and really maximize their potential. The other problem, which is the flip side of it, is that then when a woman is assertive or even quote unquote aggressive, it's something that people find very hard to handle, because in their heads the sort of picture they've built of a woman is the caring, nurturing mother, and the sort of empathetic, soft side. And as women, we all know that we're equally capable of being the tigress. But for most of us, motherhood brings that out in us, right? When if somebody were to harm our child, you'll see a very different side of a woman to the soft, nurturing, caring side. So there are different sides of women, as there are different sides of men. And I think busting this myth that there is a particular type of leadership associated with women is something that we really need to step away from and just take it for what it is and maximize that individual's potential.
I think that's again a very powerful message, that start accepting women as individuals rather than gender stereotyping. So I think that will, and both the genders are equally important and equally needed. So there is no competition between that, and both have their own differential qualities. So I think I hope all the listeners who are listening to you and watching you, I hope this is a great takeaway and they start practicing it if at all they have not yet been doing it so far. So great. This brings us to the conclusion of the core grade. So now let's get into some quirky, informal rapid fire. So I'm going to ask some very informal. So just want to have some candid replies from you. So are you ready, Diya? So I'm just putting on the timer. So what is louder, Diya? Is it clarity or confidence?
Clarity.
Okay. What's your guilt pleasure while working late hours? Is it dark chocolate or chai pakoras?
Dark chocolate with nuts.
Oh, okay. Okay. You have to name one women leader whom you would like to grab a coffee. It could be from past or present.
Many, actually. It's very hard to think of one. I have this long list of women leaders that I'd love to spend time with. But actually, a lot of times, I'm sorry, long answer to a short question, but it's not just, celebrity names or famous names that I feel attracted to, but a lot of times just so-called ordinary women leaders are the ones that I find fascinating, because my learning has been every ordinary woman has an extraordinary story.
Very, very nice. Okay. One leadership mantra which you always whisper to yourself when you are in a tough room.
I've got it.
Okay. Okay. So what would Diya like to have, whether 100K LinkedIn followers or 10 mentees who became the CXOs?
Certainly the latter. 10 mentees who became.
Okay. And lastly, what's your work from home power spot? Is it your couch, your desk, or if you have a balcony, so sipping cup of a chai or your favorite shot?
I actually love my home office. I've created a home office, which is my favorite place because it's full of all the things that are dear to me. It's got my pictures, it's got my music, it's got my books, it's got my favorite chair, and it's my little safe haven, which I escape to, and I absolutely love being there. So yeah, that's my spot.
So I'm coming there soon to see it with my own eyes.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. We are on time, Diya. It was wonderful conversing with you, and thank you once again to spare your valuable time. I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways which the audience is going to have it from. So, wishing you all the best and continue the power of impactful, the power of I. So thanks a lot once again.
Thank you, Bhavna, and wish you all the best. This is a wonderful format you've started, so all the very best on your journey ahead.
Thanks. Bye bye. Okay, so this was such a power-packed episode where Diya really emphasized enough on the importance of intertwining leadership with clarity, purpose, confidence, and compassion. I think her insights were simple but yet so impactful and important that first find yourself and rest everything will align automatically. So this was a wrap for today's episode. Till the time we meet next time, find the clarity, stay confident, stay clear, and take good care of yourself and your loved ones. Till we meet next time, on the same time, same place, same channel, Podshots with Bhavna. Signing off. Take good care of yourself and your loved ones. See you next time.